How's it going, guys and gals? My name is Beckett and welcome back to another Beckett Reacts video. It's been a while since I've recorded one of these. I'm happy to get back into it. So today's Beckett Reacts video is yet again on Jubilee, and it's on one of Jubilee's middle ground videos. And today's middle ground video is: are men superior to women? Alphas versus betas. So to start off with, all men, everyone's equal, men and women, everyone, no matter what gender you are, however you identify, no matter what you identify as, everyone is equal. And then obviously when you go further in from that, there are different areas where different genders and different people will be better at different things. Just because someone with a disability isn't capable of doing any, like, for example, heavy lifting or some sort of heavy lifting like a normal able-bodied man or someone whatever would, just because they can't do that doesn't mean that they're any less than that person, because they may be better at that other person than at someone else. So yeah, I hope you understood that, because even to myself that was a very windy thing to follow. But no, I don't think men aren't superior to women, but women are superior to men. We're all equal, and everyone has their own place, their own strengths and weaknesses. I should have just said that, shouldn't I? I should have just left it at that, because that's basically what I just said, isn't it? That is a more easier, simplified, thought out way of saying what I just said. And so with that, I've got nothing else to say on that matter, apart from hearing what these people have to say. This video is just under an hour long. Let's strap in, because it's going to be a long one. Let's do this.
Men should be the stable ones. Men don't need to be crying in front of women. And ideally, they're not splitting chores. And I don't mean that disrespectfully, but I think that if a woman cannot look up to you in some way, then she cannot respect you. And if she cannot respect you, she cannot love you.
I totally disagree.
I totally agree.
Totally disagree.
Step forward if you agree with the prompt. Men are designed to want to sleep with multiple women.
Of course they would. Oh, I don't think so. No, I don't think so. I don't think so.
Yeah, I would say I definitely agree that men, want to sleep with multiple women. I think it's natural, because one of the things is because we have so much sperm and that we produce so much sperm, and that makes us want to repopulate the earth, basically. And so a lot of times what happens is I think that society is telling men not to do that for whatever reason, you know what I mean? And some guys fall into that, but I definitely believe that, men actually want to be with multiple women because it's just a natural thing in us. This is why you hear all the time, men always cheating, and guys feel like they, trying to hide the cheating and everything like that. And if it was natural for them to just want to be with that one woman, then cheating wouldn't even be an issue. You know what I'm saying? So that's how I look at it.
In the comments, correct me if I'm wrong, but did he just make an excuse for cheating? That's what it sounded like to me. Did he just make an excuse for cheating? Because that's never okay. Oh god, here we go. Here we go. I'm gonna watch a little bit more, see if I can get more information, then I'll...
Yeah, I think for the way we were cultured, I agree with that, but also just through human history, right, for survival, I mean, maybe this is old school thinking, but it's just like, for survival, you need to have lots of kids. So if someone's pregnant, how do you keep multiplying? You just... more women, right? Not saying it's right or wrong, but it's just kind of the way. I think women even cheat too.
I mean, okay, that's okay. Well, no, it's not okay. But I mean, reasoning is fine and all, but we've evolved since then. Like, not only, well, I say, well, like, ideologically, we've evolved since then. Maybe, yeah, I mean, I don't know, but maybe, yes, it's true that back in the day that it was to keep the population growing, men had to sleep around or something. I don't know, men had to sleep with more women, I don't know. But we've evolved since then. Like, the idea of sleeping with multiple women is put under a bad light. And I mean, at the end of the day, if both parties are okay with it, if both are consenting to it, and it's something that they're completely happy with, and they can constantly go through have sex with different people without having the emotional attachment, then that's completely fine. And there are some cases where it's, I mean, I can't. I've got too many variables in my head right now, and I can't like piece them together. No, I'm just gonna keep watching because I can't.
50-50.
Yeah, I think women also some.
Wrong, but it's just kind of the way. I think women even cheat too. It's like 50-50.
Yeah, I think women also some. Wanna.
Doesn't mean it's a good thing. Doesn't excuse cheating. Like, yes, okay, it sucks to have a breakup, but at least it has to be at least being upfront and truthful about it has to be better than hiding a secret relationship behind your current partner's back. Like, I'm sorry, but it has to be better than that. It has to be, like, no, it has to be better than that. It has to, like, you just, like, no.
Do their thing, you know what I'm saying, in some situations. Yeah, I think women also some, wanna do their thing, you know what I'm saying, in some situations, you know what I'm saying? So I don't think it's just men. I think it's a natural, like, I feel like because that desire is there, it's a natural thing for, if we're talking specifically men, that desire to want to do it is natural in us, so then therefore you're going to want to do it. So I don't think it's a natural thing to just be with this one woman, but at the same time when I'm with this one woman, I only want to stay with her. It's almost like I'm lying to myself if I just want to be with her, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, that makes perfect sense.
No, what? What? Oh my god! What? Okay, no. I figured it out. I know why I can't give my opinion at this moment in time. Because everything they're saying is just, it's conflicting with what I already know so much that I can't actually think about all the information correctly in my head and string an argument together for it. I can't do it. What the fuck? So I'm just gonna carry on watching until I can either attempt to string something together, or I can't. Or I know I can string something together.
But the question is that the end point? Is being with multiple women the end point? I'm of the firm belief that it is important to position yourself as a man to have the capacity to be with as many women as you possibly can, and position yourself in a way where you understand female nature and you maximize your potential as a man. And that's where.
But these guys have relationships. Maybe that's not like another question, but do they sound okay. I might be stereotyping here, so brace yourselves. They sound like playboys and fuckboys. That's what they sound like. They sound like people who aren't in relationships. They're single, or like they're friends with benefits or whatever. And then they have these arrangements with all these different women. That's what they sound like. And I'm speaking too fast. Yes, I am. I'm realizing that now. Again, I think it's just because I cannot. My beta brain, there's no way in hell I'm an alpha when it comes to dominance and stuff. I'm not an alpha. I'm a fucking beta. I fucking know it. Everything is conflicting with everything these guys are saying is conflicting with what I already know, and it's just messing with me. I can't actually. Oh Jesus Christ!
I don't necessarily agree that just because there's a deeper desire to continue to do it means it's going to be the most optimal thing for you and your own ability to thrive at the highest level and connect with God here on earth.
I was taught not to be with multiple women, right? But it's like,
yeah.
Especially, I mean, here's the thing, especially when you're in a relationship, right? It's like, it's better to grow together with somebody than multiple people, which I totally agree.
Yes.
But I think in the dating terms, it's like, there's nothing wrong with being multiple women, because I think that's just dating. It's experimenting, it's finding other people, but
I guess.
are we naturally made to just always be with one person? It's like, if that were true, then these first thoughts of being with another woman, even though I'm in a committed relationship, would never occur. But it comes up once. Right?
No, well, the reason for that. Okay, that's all down to just growth. So we all grow differently. Everyone grows differently. And if you happen to find someone who you can grow with at the same time, and you can grow in the same way, then that's fucking brilliant. That's amazing. That means you can have a stable relationship, and you can work out kinks as you go along. That problem that they're describing now is when it comes to things like when say you're growing in a certain way, when you're growing in a certain way and your partner is, but then at some point you start to grow a different way that's pulling you away from that person. I don't think that's got anything to do with having a I think it's the right word, subconscious need to sleep around with different women, is it? Again, it that can't be, like, it's just means you haven't found the right one yet.
Wow. But it doesn't mean I'm acting upon it. So
And you might be being generous about saying once in a while.
it doesn't mean I'm acting upon it. Relationship would never occur, but it comes up once in a while. But it doesn't mean I'm acting upon it. So
And you might be being generous about saying once in a while. Probably comes up quite a bit.
it depends what kind of relationship you're in, I guess, or how good a day it is, right? Like, but I would say for me, if it was totally natural, even though I was nurtured into only being with one woman, that these thoughts wouldn't occur then.
Right, and the thing with me, I'm non-monogamous, so I have a wife. I have
No,
a
it's
girlfriend.
it's something to do with nature. At least not from the perspective I can see. It's just to do with growth. Again, I'll say it again, because it's the only argument I can actually properly string up at this point. I'll say it again. People grow at different rates, and people grow at different rates, and people grow in different rates, and people grow in different ways. You might be able to grow. You might find someone who you can grow with up to a certain point, and then you might find you're deviating, and then that means that you're no longer the person might not be the best fit for you or something. And it happens, but it's nothing to do with nature. I can't see how that would. No.
And I still, from time to time, hook up with other girls. You know what I mean? And the thing is, it feels.
Unless of course there is the whole fact of the open relationships, of course, like no, the open relationships, even if I didn't say that already. But again, that's all about just if both you and your partner are okay with it.
Regular to me. It doesn't feel like I'm trying to do it or doing it because I'm forcing myself. It just feels just natural, like it's something I want to do. You know what I mean? And so to not do it feels unnatural. You might just want this one woman for a relationship. I can understand that. But sexually, though, I think it's all BS.
Yeah, I agree. I think a man can absolutely be head over heels in love with a woman and still sleep with other women and it not mean anything to him.
Right.
And I think all men have the proclivity to want to sleep with other women. Now, whether they're...
Not. I disagree. They're not all. I don't think all. I think maybe many men, maybe either most or many men do, but I wouldn't say all men. But I do kind of agree with what he says there. Like, I mean, men. There are those who can who can have the ability to have a sexual relationship with someone and there be no emotions or strings attached. I understand that.
They're able to speak to that and actually act at liberty to want to sleep with other women. Now, whether they're able to speak to that and actually act on that or not, or if they've been able to, like you said, like religiously find a way to work around it. And I think religion has been great for that, because if it weren't for religion, we probably would not have society. But I think what's most important to identify is that a man should create choice in his life. And if you have choice, you should be able to do as you wish, particularly like in your case, like in my case, if there's no deceit.
Exactly.
It's the lying that, in my opinion, is actually the overall problem when guys tend to go outside of a relationship. They lie to the woman.
Yes.
That's the problem.
So
Yes.
when I was growing up, I was under the belief of just being with one woman, right? Like, I was a virgin for a very long time. Then one girl broke my heart. So that caused like a lot of insecurity, resentment towards the other side, right? And then I just became like a man whore for a little bit.
The problem is you have guys who are monogamous, but they're monogamous because they're forced to be monogamous. In a way, meaning that they have no choice because they don't have the skill to attract multiple women.
And a lot of times they'll use that as virtue signaling. I would never do such a thing. Well, actually, bro, you can't.
All right. Can the disagree step forward?
Well, I don't want to.
I remember when I would like go on tour and things like that.
Well, hello. Wow.
My friends would always try to encourage me to like hook up with girls that were on to me. But I wasn't really like into it. And it made me feel like weird, like off, like there was something wrong with me. And now I'm at a point in my life where I feel like I'm only having sex with multiple women so I'm not weird, so I'm quote unquote normal. I feel like even when I do have sex with these random women, it doesn't give me any gratification. And I know that comes with like random sex in the end, but I know in the back of my mind that like I just like simply don't enjoy this. Like I've been with multiple women and I've been with one woman, and being with one woman is just so peaceful. As far as like telling young men that they're born this way and that they should feel this way, it can really not do damage, but just sort of make you second guess things about yourself. Am I normal? Am I weird? Is there something off about me? Everyone else around me is saying that I have to feel this way or I have to do these things, but yet I don't feel the courage to do those things.
I would say that's not true, though. I don't think that we should promote men sleep with multiple women. I think that we should promote choice and what feels right to you. So in your particular case, I would never tell you to sleep with multiple women. I think you might be doing the right thing to do exactly what you're doing and not do it or stop doing it. It's not about pushing it on the young men, but I'll tell you, there's a lot of young men that have a demon inside and maybe are really upset and frustrated with themselves because they feel a certain way. And it's like, oh, I'm coming out the closet. I'm straight, or super straight or too straight or whatever it is. I think that it's really going to be about choice, man. So if me to you, I tell you, if that you don't feel good doing that, man, I wouldn't do it at all.
Yeah, I agree. In your situation, what was happening, and this is what I think a lot of times what happens is you have guys who will have sex with multiple women because they're trying to fill a void. So it shouldn't be about filling a void. It should be about you actually desiring. So you don't desire to do it, so which is why you shouldn't do it. But there are guys who desire to do it, but then they're suppressing their desire, and then it's doing the same thing as you not wanting to do it. Like they feel weird about not doing it, but they want to, whereas you felt weird doing it, but you didn't want to.
I think it's a society thing. Like what you just said, who's making them feel guilty about not doing it? Other men. The reason, I think women and men, the question was, do you feel that men are meant to sleep with multiple women? Or they're just, that's what they do. And I don't think that's true. I think it's a part of your character and who you are. I do believe that if you're going to be honest with your partner is into it, but do I believe that we are biologically meant and it's in our head because we have to procreate and this and that? I don't believe that. I believe the reason we do it a lot is because it's looked upon as a great thing for men to have multiple women. Women are shamed for that. Shamed totally. I have one son and two daughters, and I know the difference of how I felt when they were 15 or in their 20s, now they were 15 versus him having multiple partners or my daughter.
So if I could stroke a chick for $1,000,000 and never feel that feeling again, I absolutely would. I really, really would. It's something that I really hated myself for, and I felt very apart. I grew up in the South Louisiana. It was a Bible Belt. And I felt very distant from people around me because I had this urge in me and could not understand why I was so different. Like the biggest self-hate I've ever felt in my life is over this particular subject. I thought I was broken.
And I understand you. And me, again, I'm going to come back with, just being around it. And me, I'm bisexual. I've always have been. But like you heard me say, I've been married to a woman for 30 years. And I've been committed for 30 years. Doesn't that I don't have that desire. It's my character to say, this is my person. And that's who I want to be.
So that's what
you're making a character versus is the driver.
I was going to
Right,
say.
but then that goes back to, are we just built that way? Because if we're just built that way as men, then there's multiple people that I'm going to want to sleep with.
But I think what I was under the impression with that question was, are we biologically DNA created for that? I say
I
yes,
wouldn't
but
say so.
I love and I agree with what we're saying here. It's like, but as men, right, in the culture and awareness and being a human being, having a consciousness, choice, language, we can choose not to. We can go against those desires or urges and stuff.
If you feel that desire and you're honest with your partner, I believe that is true. Do I believe that we are biologically meant to, we just biologically want to sleep with more people because we have a penis between our legs and not a vagina? I don't.
Well, let me ask you this, though, because you said you're bisexual, so that means you're attracted to men and women, right? So if you're with a woman, aren't you also attracted to men? So wouldn't you want a man and a woman?
No.
So you just like, I just want one and that's
I made a commitment. And it's not even like
but there's no urge to want
there's always
more?
urge.
That's what we're talking about.
But that doesn't mean that I'm biologically, I think men and women both have urges.
Where do you think the urge is coming from, though, if it's not biologically inside of you?
I think the urge comes from, I don't think it's a biological thing. I think
temptation, not urge.
But the urge creates temptation, no?
But is temptation bad? Like you say it in a way that's kind of like temptation.
I don't think temptation's bad.
Natural.
I don't think it's a thing of then that goes back to all of us then. All of us are meant to sleep with multiple people. So then that's just a whole different society thing. But it's not just, the question was as men, are we? And I don't think so.
But regardless, I think it's important to understand, 'cause I think we are. And if we can come to terms with that, we can begin to move past it if that's what we desire. But if we reject that idea that it's not natural, then we can't move past it if that's something that someone wants to do.
But do you agree it's just men? Do you agree with that statement that it's just
No, I think it's women too.
Okay. That's where I
yeah.
disagree.
Oh no, because we were just talking men.
Right.
But I agree that it's men and women.
What it sounded like was, and correct me if I'm wrong, people started talking about like infidelity and, you know, telling the truth. And I think like the urges and things are okay until you act upon it. And that's when both adults just have to have a conversation about, you know, this isn't working out for me.
I mean, yeah, because like, I mean, this goes for both male and females. Like, are all I mean, when we all have that biological. In this way, we are biologically designed to be attracted to the opposite sex, either that or like the same sex, or whatever. Where we are designed to have that sexual attraction, because often that's the way, you know, procreation works. So obviously, like you can, yes, have a committed relationship to someone, and also walk down the street and see someone else and think, oh, okay, she looks nice, but like, yes, you should have the source, because obviously that's what it's in your biology to seek that sort of stuff out. Then obviously you have that one person who you can then do that stuff with.
Yeah, I still want to, you know, sleep around or whatever you want to call it. It sounds like some people want to have their cake and eat it too, which I don't necessarily agree with. And I think just as long as all parties involved have an understanding of what they're getting into, I don't see the issue.
I mean, honestly, I don't think I could say it any better than he did. That, which I feel like most of us, or all of us, kind of agree upon that. In the end, it is a choice. That like, if you want to be in a poly like relationship, that's fine as long as everyone's in agreement. Obviously, don't, you know, be in a monogamous relationship and then, you know, like single-handedly choose to, you know, sleep with other women without telling your partner. Like, that's when like issues arise.
Submissive women are more attractive than dominating women.
Okay. Before I say my anything, let me properly think about this. Let me just think about this. So talking biologically, probably submissive, because I think biologically, and from back in the past, obviously women were designed to, from what I've experienced, they were biologically designed to like seek protection in the arms of men and stuff. So I think biologically maybe, and having that like just that old subconscious programming per se, if you get what I mean, then yes. But when it just comes to generally and not biologically, no. That's a choice. That's personal preference. That's what was the word I thought of just a minute ago? Subjective, I think. That is subjective. Biologically, from the past, yes, maybe, but just generally, without thinking about biologically, it's subjective, because everyone has their own preference, and so everyone can. So some people may like to have a more submissive woman or more dominant woman. It all depends. So I stop myself because, especially with, like a lot of these sort of videos which touch on these sort of topics, a lot of them do they always take in biology in some degree. So I had to stop myself to really think about that for a second.
Oh, hell yeah. You know. Hell yeah. Listen, my shirt says submissive women are sexy. Okay, so.
Yeah, it's true, man. It's true. Look, I think one of the most beautiful things about love is being able to fully take care of a woman in every way, whether that's emotionally protecting, providing, everything about that. Like every fairy tale that was ever written for all of time was about a man saving a woman from a castle and a dragon, right? Or
yeah, agreed. But I mean, that does have its, you know, it does have those like connotations of the fact of like the thing that the women can't handle themselves. but I'm not going into that now because that's not what it's about. But like, but obviously, but that mean they can. But yeah, so I see where he's coming from, but again, that's a very like old-fashioned viewpoint. But I mean, I guess you might have to. I don't know. But yeah.
Some sort of scenario like that. And I think that's absolutely beautiful. And I have nothing against women being empowered, but I do feel like the happiest women in the world are the ones that look up to a man and that he can fight every day to love her and love his kids and his family and provide and be that source of something to actually look up to. Like, I believe a woman can admire a man, and it's very, very, very healthy. Am I saying that somebody that doesn't do that is not a man? No, I would never. But ideally, the relationships that are going to work, the relationships in, let's say, the 30s, 40s, 50s, or whenever, you know, we were having nuclear families stay together.
That I have to disagree on. It doesn't necessarily I don't think necessarily that a relationship will work just because a woman seeks comfort and protection in a man's arms. I don't think I disagree with that because because I think it works both ways. I think it works both ways. Like you could have, I think it could work where you have a man who's perfectly. Oh bloody hell! Oh god, no! Sorry, I've just looked at the. I'm about to do a 2-part on this because this is way too fucking long. Sorry, I know I'm mid-serious sentence, but I'm looking at. Shitting Christ! I'm looking at the time on my OBS. I'm looking at the time here. I've been this video's gone on so far for about 36 minutes, and we're only 13 minutes in. I mean, probably less than that by the time I've like cut down, but I think this might have to be a 2-part at this point.
We went off the gold standard.
But no, what was I saying? But I think, generally, I think a man could be just as happy, could be just as a stable relationship could be as achievable as having a man to find comfort in a woman's arms. I think that works just as well.
And inflation pushed everybody to have 2 people have to have a job. Yeah, dude, I do. I think those relationships were much happier when the man could lead a house and be proud of going out and going to work every day and fighting for his family. Yeah, I do.
Yeah, I think what we have to do is we have to look at general female happiness, because that's really what I'm into. Like, I don't really care what guys think or what girls think. And I think I have a unique perspective in that I've worked with a lot of high-performing women that operate in this dominant role. And I work with them for the purpose of helping them be able to reintegrate with that more submissive, connected, intuitive part of themselves that really is connected to their bodies, that if they were connected to their bodies wouldn't be as dominant, at least in the presence of men. And with every woman that I've worked with, there is this deep, deep, deep desire, regardless of what she says externally, to submit to the leadership of a man that she knows can properly hold down the emotional space and really put her interests at the forefront.
Right, because when a woman is dominant over that man, she can't respect him. It's just impossible.
She feels safe.
Right, exactly. And the thing is...
Yes, you can. You can respect... Fuck off! You can a dominant woman can respect a man no matter fucking what. I don't believe for a second. I'm call bullshit on that. I'm not that. Nah, fucking nah, mate.
With submission is like if you even look at the word submission, sub under a mission. If I have a mission, and this woman is under my mission, meaning I'm leading her, right? Then that is a actual good relationship that's going to flourish.
Truly, deep down, every woman would love nothing more than to be more feminine in a role, in a family, and take on that either that motherly role or that nurturing role, or the role that feels supportive to the overall mission of a man. It's just got to be a man worth getting behind, and weak men are the reason why this is a problem. Case in point, look at the workplace. You don't see women applying for jobs to be power line guys or hang steel at steel companies. They're not picketing outside of the United States Army being like, why won't you draft me? They don't want that smoke, bro.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and that's okay.
Right.
And I can't say enough. It's like, as a man, like, you get to take pride in taking care of a woman, protecting women. What about your daughters, man? You want to protect and provide, care for them. That's okay. Let them be feminine. A strong man doesn't need you to be a man. He say, fine, you can be a woman. You're safe, sweetheart. You come with me.
Right.
That's it.
There were just a few things that I disagree on.
A few.
I think that in 2023 especially, I think women just want to be able to look to the side and see their partner as an equal. And I think a lot of women now are I don't think they're trying to be men. I think what they're realizing is that
Just
the qualities that they were looking for in men, they've always had it within themselves. If women
it's not literally men. They're trying to be self-sustaining. Like, I don't believe. Like, I don't believe that women have that subconscious desire to have to rely on a man or anything. I mean, I feel. I mean, I say a lot of women have the I'd say just it's a lot, especially nowadays. Women have the desire more to just rely on no one. Have one to just commit. I'd be able to deal with shit themselves.
women are submissive, it's mostly for, I want to say, like, the validation for the man. I think they know in the back of their heads, like, they know now that they can do things on their own. But I don't think they necessarily need a man. But I think what they're looking for is that intimacy to have a partner. But I don't think that they require one.
Oh no, they do, because a lot of these girls, they usually go home and cry at night from being lonely, from not having a man. They have all these things, and then they're upset they don't have a man. You know what I mean? And I heard you say that women want to be the man's equal, but you don't see, and maybe this could just be a societal thing, a societal pressure, but you don't see women doing things that could make them equal to the men. You don't see the women approaching the men. You don't see the women paying for the dates. You don't see the women being more assertive to the man. You see what I'm saying? So where's that at?
And they got options. They got so much more options.
I like to speak from experience. Well, I like to speak from experience here. I have seen multiple occasions where multiple times where the woman in the group of people that I'm with or whatever would fight. Well, not fight, but like have like a little playful war with one of the other males in the group to try and pay instead. I've seen that happen before, so I'm calling bullshit on that because that is not true. At least not for all women. And also, I think, especially with the whole proposing part, that's just built into people. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I mean, I bet there's. Oh no, well no, there are people, there are women who do it. I mean, lesbians. Look at that. I mean, one of the women in the relationship has to be comfortable with proposing to that, and I mean, there's only two women there, so it's one of them has to do it. But I definitely, but it is definitely a thing of just from the past. The men are the ones who are expected to propose. But again, that's not to say that. But I'm sure there's been the odd occasion where a woman has proposed to a man. I'm sure there has been. Like, I'm surprised that there wasn't.
Well, I'll tell you what you do see.
So where's that at?
Cause they got options. They got so much more options than
Well, I'll tell you what you do see. You see a high level of women on antidepressants more than ever, right? And I think that's a bunch of women trying to cope with trying to be like a man when really, let me ask you a question. Are you more attracted to a woman that has a high-paying job or to a woman's beauty?
That doesn't matter to me.
It does matter. It does matter to me.
You couldn't, but I would like to say a mother figure rather than a woman.
Absolutely not. But I would like to say that you're saying that women, have a higher, have antidepressants, but men, I'm a social worker, so men 1 out of 10 are more likely to experience depression, but more likely to go undiagnosed and not seek therapy or help.
Yep.
So I do think.
Yep. And that's mainly because of this whole, and I'm gonna put it, that's the point of people who take offense to this, but it's because of all this male dominant bullshit these guys are talking about. Well, not all bullshit. A lot of it does actually is understandable to what they said, but some of this male bullshit is what the guys are talking about is exactly the reason for that. It's because men have this built with the idea that they're supposed to be a provider of a family and have this they're supposed to get find a woman they love, marry them, have a family with them, and they're supposed to be strong and not show emotion or like not be as emotional as a woman, and that's the reason for this. So, yeah.
And women also, you have to consider the fluctuation in hormones, pregnancy, because that can alter, their mental health. So I think that's kind of a moot point, but I feel like, I'm not looking for a mother figure. I'm looking for an equal. So I feel like with, if we're saying that women, they're like going home crying, looking for men, I think it's also that societal pressure that tells you at the same time you have to have multiple women. They're telling the women you have to have that one man, that husband, by a certain age, have kids by a certain age. There's more pressure on them than there is men. And for, lack of a better term, I think men have gotten off a lot easier because women have so much pressure and they get judged more harshly than men do. For talking about back then when men used to go home, bring home the bacon or whatever, the domestic violence rate was pretty high during that time. And I'll also say that for people of color, we never really had the luxury of working one job. So my parents, their parents before them, everybody always had to work, men and women. So there was always that equal opportunity for them to be able to see that they could do it together as opposed to put that one pressure. And I also would like to ask, if you guys find submissive women more attractive than dominant women, is that because it makes you feel more validated as a man, or is there something there that you feel like feeds into your purpose as a man?
Yeah, well, it's a balance. If I'm a dominant person, I need a submissive. If I meet a dominant woman, we're gonna butt heads.
What if that changes? Like, what if she grows? Because I would love everybody to be able to grow throughout life. What if she starts becoming more dominant? Is that like a...
Are you saying if she starts becoming more dominant in a relationship?
More dominant or equal to your dominant?
Oh yeah, she's gone. She's finished. We're done.
And see, that's my thing. Like, look, I got children. I don't need somebody else to take care of. And I love your thing about, the Prince Charming and everything. But you know what I need? I need a badass woman who can match my badass energy. I work with my wife, and I'm going to tell you, I take care of her, she takes care of me, and she's badass. And that's what I'm attracted to. I don't need a submissive that I have someone to take care of. And then it's fine. If she goes through that, then I'll be there, and I will take care of her. But I'm not looking for somebody, another child to take care of and have to dominate and tell, you go over there. This is where we're going to go to dinner. This is where we're going to do that. No. That's why what he was saying, I was going to bring that fact up too. A lot of men are depressed because they put it on this shield of I have to be the leader. I have to do this. And you know who goes to get help?
What I just said a second ago. What I just said. Hit the nail on the head. That's what I just said.
First, women.
Okay, that totally makes sense. I think if we're talking about men not ever dealing with their emotions, it makes sense for this argument that you guys are talking about. But I'm a firm believer. I've gotten a lot of therapy in my life. I've done a lot of things for myself personally to resolve my own internal conflict. Okay, so it's a job of alpha men. The real integrated alpha man has the capacity to understand what he's feeling, why he's feeling the way that he is, articulate in a way that is productive to the dynamic.
Yeah, but that's the thing. The people, they're not being taught that. That's the problem. All well and good saying that a true alpha man have the if you're a true man, you can probably deal with the stuff you're feeling, like in your own sort of way. But that's a problem. They're not being taught that. They're only men are only being taught to be the alpha. That's not to be strong, to be dependent, and to be able to protect his loved ones. He's not being told how to deal with those feelings. In the way that they're saying, that's what they're not being told that.
So a real man is someone that understands himself deeper at an emotional level, has taken the time to do that, so he can show up as a rock, not so he can show up more emotionally.
Problem is that if you're super emotional, when we talk about the whole thing of being submissive or dominant, your woman is going to dominate you because you're so emotional.
Emotionally unstable. Yeah. Let's say that. Let's stop using emotion. Let's start using emotionally unstable. Right.
Since you're so emotionally unstable, she's going to dominate you, and then she's going to lose respect for you, and that's going to teeter the waters of the relationship.
So, you guys know dominatrix exists for a reason. And by the way, I used to personal train at dominatrix. You guys are their clients.
Yeah.
Not me, cowboy. No, I'm being serious. Like, it's a very hidden thing.
Sorry, the way he said that, I love that. He's hearing all these people saying about, if women get too dominant, then they end up it debalances everything in the relationship. He's just there going, yeah, I train women to be dominant over people like you, so fuck you all. Well, not fuck you all, but just saying that. That's brilliant. I'll watch that again, sorry.
Everything.
Just the way it says, dominations are there for a reason, right? Dominations are a thing because,
I used to personal train a dominatrix. You guys are their clients.
Not me, cowboy.
I'm being serious. Like, it's a very hidden thing. I used to date them. High position.
He's trying to deny it, but
The power, very alpha. But like, here's the thing. I think you guys put a little bit too much pressure on yourselves. It might be a societal thing. I've dated submissive women before. I find them highly annoying. Sometimes I just want somebody to pick a choice. I like her places. She's got better taste than I do when it comes to that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So please go ahead. We do butt heads once in a while because she is dominant. But does that mean she lost respect or attraction for me? No.
no, that's the whole thing about the whole, like, I was saying earlier about the whole growing together thing. Like, it's disagreement. They happen. It happened in life, but then you move past them and you grow together like that. It happens.
Not at all. And trust me on that one. So I think it does depend on your energy. You have a very high one, right? Maybe it doesn't mix well with somebody who also has a really high dominant energy. I'm not saying that's wrong because they exist for a reason, submissive people, right? But I just think for me, when it's very submissive, I don't find that as sexy. I find that annoying.
But see, and that makes sense. And the reason why, see, what happens is the more masculine you are, the more you want the woman to be submissive. The more dominant she is, then the more.
I don't know. I think I'm pretty fucking masculine, dude.
No,
I don't want somebody that.
I'm saying that in that moment you're in your feminine. But go ahead.
If you and your wife have like a conversation about a disagreement, and then you guys like a healthy conversation, and then she ends up being right in the situation, would you consider her dominating me?
No, I consider her right.
So what's your definition of like dominant? Like you always have to be right.
No, it's not about right and wrong. It's about who's running the show.
So by her being right, is that not her?
No, that's just her being right in that conversation.
Yeah, a good leader would allow someone else to be right. A good leader doesn't have to be right. He wants the team to win. In fact, I'd call a man insecure if he wouldn't allow a woman to be right on the subject she was clearly.
I like that.
I do like that. And, it goes back to the question of, like, what do you find more attractive? Because that's what we're talking about.
Yeah, it's a preference.
What's the preference? It's a preference. One of the things you said is, like, when you and your partner or girlfriend get into something and it's, like, a little heated, like, I get off on that.
Me, I totally don't get off on that. Like I don't need any back talk. I don't need any lip. I don't need any attitude. It's my way or the highway. Like I don't want none of it.
I didn't even have a conversation in the first place about the disagreement.
You're not having that conversation.
No.
So you're just going to be challenged. You don't to be challenged.
That's okay. Like no back talk. I'm right.
That's a different thing. If we're talking about a topic and she's right about the topic, that's just how I was talking about the
Like
topic.
an opinion of yours or things that you want
No, I'm
to do
talking
that she
about.
disagrees with.
If you're like an opinion, you're saying you want no back.
No. I'm not talking about opinions. I'm talking about decisions. So we can have a conversation about a topic, but when it comes to a decision, the final decision is mine.
Let me change my word. If we're to have a healthy discussion about a decision, which she disagrees.
She says I disagree.
Right. She said, so if we say, hey, she wants to do A, B, and C. And I say, no, I want to do D, E, and F. Right?
Doing that.
We're doing D, E, and F at the end of the day. Now, I will listen to what she says. And if I think A, B, and C sounds better, then I say, okay, yeah, let's do A, B, and C. Because
But you that sounds
bad.
back talk in the first place.
No.
Would
That's
you even
no.
entertain the conversation?
No, that's what I'm saying. If we're having a conversation, that's cool. I'm saying the final decision, though, is mine. So you can speak your mind, but at the end of the day, I'm making the final decision.
So it's like, I'm going to let you talk.
Yeah, let you talk. Yeah.
In the end, I don't really care. I'm going to do what I want.
No, I said I care.
I do want to touch upon the...
One more thing with like let's clarify submissive. Let's not get that mistaken between incompetent. Like submissive does not mean incompetent, and I think you might have been talking about women that could be incompetent, where they don't have the capacity to take care of themselves at all or make any type of decision. So I think there's definitely a difference in how she shows up in the relationship compared to being able to make decisions in her everyday life.
Sure, but he doesn't want them to make decisions. No, your decision's the final, no matter what.
Some of the strongest women in the world right now.
No, I mean, no, he did say that that out of all the options, if her ideas are better, then he'll go with them. But if not, then he'll go with that no matter what. So he did say that it's not final, but the odds are stacked against the decisions of the woman in that scenario. I'd say.
Are sitting in submissive roles because they're strong enough to think for themselves and do what they feel good in their heart. Because there are women that do want to be submissive naturally. And some of those women are the strongest women in the world right now, especially when the world's telling them to go be something that they don't want to be.
I do agree that, honestly, it is a choice. It's a preference, We shouldn't speak upon, everybody. Obviously, it's always a gray area. It's a range. It's not one side or the other.
Yeah.
And if you guys want to be in a relationship where the woman is submissive and the woman also wants to be in a relationship where the male is dominant, that's completely fine. But the thing I want to talk about more is the fact that like you guys keep saying that like this is what women want, or that like all women want this. Who are we to decide what women want? Because first of all, we're not women, and second, just because of our personal experiences in our lifetime about the people we've interacted with, I feel like that's something we need to take a step back from and clarify that like, no, this is just my personal opinion. In the end, we don't know what women want. Woman knows what they want, not men.
I have yet to see a relationship because I would say a relationship dynamic that is optimal has deep connection where you could say there's a deep friendship there, but also there's sexual polarity. And I've seen dynamics where there is a great friendship there and there is connection and they do live very cohesively, but when the woman is more dominant, the majority of the time, I have yet to see a dynamic where consistently over time there is strong sexual polarity on her end in a dynamic.
And that's fine. Like if that's what you've seen in your lifetime, that's completely fine. Like,
I think
but then that's your,
biology says that. I don't think it's just my personal opinion. I don't think, but like,
Probably you just surround yourself with.
yeah, like, that's just saying. It's like just because you've grown up in a certain area where like people are like that, because like I could say the same thing, but on the other side, where I've seen plenty of people and plenty of relationships where like that wasn't the case, but then they're like sexually fine, you know, that they're perfectly fine, their polarity is completely fine, and they're happy. And I could say the same thing. I could keep going at you saying that, like, oh, because of what I've seen or what I've experienced, dominant men, it won't work. But then that's dumb because there are cases where dominant women do work, but there's also cases where it doesn't.
No, it's all
When they're happy, they're probably not going out saying, I'm so happy, I'm dominant, I'm a woman. They're not going around saying that. You know, they're just happy. They stick to themselves most of the time when they're that happy.
All right.